Oh, shit.
Dude, I feel high. My head hurts so fucking bad.
This is 161st Street, Yankee Stadium.
Swung on a hit in the air. Deep center. Gets back. Away back. She is gone.
All right, welcome back to the Boys 161st Street, episode 143. Today is a nice loaded episode for you today. Got a little bit of a packed house today. It's not just only me and Chandler. Today you got me, Chandler, and Murphy is back from his hiatus. He also is back on that Beat the Boys Jeopardy show, which will be at the back end of this episode. If you didn't catch it live, we did basically just Jeopardy against Steve and G, the notorious voicemail callers. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. If you guys want to check it out, obviously stay around to the end. We're going to have a regular show for you with Rounding Third. We're going to buy or sell your takes, and then we're going to have some voicemails. Usually I would leave the voicemails for the Tuesday episode, but we had a couple of good ones that I wanted to play, so I thought they were relevant to today. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to do the Action Network Stat of the Week because we are presented by Action Network. Download the app, follow our picks. He took a look into why Glaber has been sucking and if he's ever going to be back to 2019 Glaber. And I'm not too sure if that will happen, but we'll dive into the stats there. But before we get into all that, how are we doing, boys?
I mean, aside from trying to pull off like a Jordan flu game here, I would like to say, speaking on the Action Network, the Greasy Parlay is 2 for its last 2, and the first leg of today's has hit. So I think that kind of makes up for this kind of cold I'm battling here. Just lining my pockets, even though I'm miserable.
How are you, Murph?
Glad to be back after a little hiatus there. Work doesn't exactly coincide with our schedule, so I'm
It's
glad
good to
be
have
back.
you back, Murphy.
It's good to have you back, Murphy. He's the brewmaster. He's repping the common roots. If you're around town, there's a population of like 50. But if you're one of those 50, then go check out Murph at Common Roots Brewery. He'll pour you a nice cold one. So, Yankees take 2 out of the 3 in Seattle. Start off with 2 hot games. Offense looks like it was back. I remember seeing a stat. I'll look it up right now. That we were, I think, like 4th in the league, was it? Since June 23rd in runs put up. It was since June 23rd, the Yankees are 4th in the league in runs scored. So, that begs the question. Obviously, today is a bad, it's bad for this question, but like, is the Yankees offense a little bit back? Because there's also the quote from Judge. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but I'll read it out loud to you guys. So you could just tell the difference. The flow of the game is different when we score first. He's talking about our pitchers are able to attack guys differently. If we get a lead, it just changes everything for us, which is pretty fucking obvious. Like that's the case with anything and anybody at any level. So, I mean, I agree with that. And I have noticed, they have been scoring early and they have been, I was able to go to bed early a few of these nights and, I thought maybe my mornings wouldn't be ruined because it was, it was 7 or 9-0 when I went to bed. So I don't know. Do you guys think the offense is back?
No.
I did until about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, no. You just got one hit by, I think he was a rookie with like a 4 ERA coming into this.
He was.
No, I don't. I don't think the offense is back. I've said it time and time again that this offense isn't built to sustain hot streaks. Yeah, when everybody comes and they click at once, it's fucking awesome, and you put up the 12 or 13 run game. But no, I mean, I think I saw a stat today that was like in the last 16 innings of this series, the Yankees have scored 0 runs. Like, after they had their 3-run burst in the first yesterday, and then Judge hit the 2-run bomb in like the 5th, they didn't score another run the rest of the series. So, do with that what you may. It's just a microcosm. I know you like that word.
It's my favorite word.
I know
Of the whole words.
He does.
You got a lot of favorite words.
He's a wordsmith, man.
I'm a little bit of a wordsmith. That's why you guys made me the host.
That's another one.
That's why I opened the show.
Is
wordsmith another one of my words that you think I love? I do like that
Yes.
word.
Once
It's
you
a good
find a
word.
word, you're good to use it 4 or 5 times more than normal for about a week.
I like to flex
Like,
on them.
remember when we taught him the word cuck? We were in Tampa. It was like first thing in the morning, 7 a.m. Urella's up, everybody else is still asleep. She's like, I can't find my cucking pancakes. We're like, all right, man, it's time to shut that down.
Yeah, whatever, man. Is the offense back or not? Like, stop talking about me learning words.
No, the offense is not back.
You know what's funny? Before we talk about the offense a little bit, or we could just end the topic about the offense. I personally think it's not back, but it's definitely looking better. And you know what? People are making the argument that it's against the Mariners. The Mariners are currently above us in the wild card, so you can't really point the finger at that. So, I know the expectations for them was that they weren't going to be a good team, and they probably still aren't a great team. And we did face probably, if we didn't do that against Justice Sheffield, then we had to cancel the season right then and there. There is still hope. I still have hope that we make the playoffs. I think that's entirely possible. There's a lot of baseball left. And we saw after 2 games, we were within 3.5 of the wild card too. So a lot can change very fast. Kind of took the wind out of our sails after losing this game in the way they did. They get 1 hit by a rookie. So that sucks. But, I mean, like we've seen time and time again, this team is so streaky that they can just rattle off a few wins and then just rattle off a few losses. So, if they do that a little more consistently, I don't know if they can. And here's the thing, usually around this time of year, we always talk about, there's replacements on the way. And this is like one of the years that there's barely any. Like Sevy is the only one, and Kluber may be back later, if at all. So
Sevy threw today, actually.
Britton
too. But you know what I mean? Every year we have a borderline 4 or 5 stars that are coming back as replacements. So, we just have to get to that point, and we don't really have that. We are pretty healthy for the most part, and the problem is that everybody's healthy and they just can't fucking put it together. Or one person will lead the show, like we saw Luke Voit absolutely tear the cover off the ball, and then in classic Yankee fashion, he gets hit in the wrist, and he's probably going to be out for the next 4 months. I know he stayed in the game, but, one could assume he's probably going to be out for a very, very long time, just based on recent history of our players. And that's a shitty injury. I know Rucco said that on the air when it happened. When you get hit in like the hand, we talked about this teaser during it was a question in the Beat the Boys trivia at the back end of this episode. That reminded me so much of that Judge against the Royals when he got hit in the fucking wrist and fractured his right wrist and was out for like 8 weeks in 2018. So
2 things. One, Ryan Rucco's the fucking man. I'm pretty sure that we're like 90 games above 500 when he announces. I don't think that's a real stat. And people got so mad at that when I said it on Twitter. I was like, dude, it's clearly a joke. Like, fucking relax. I know that doesn't affect the team. And second of all this kind of the small hope that we do make the playoffs and we are buyers at the deadline, which is a huge fucking F based on the schedule this month. Say we go get Starling Marte. Where do you guys where do you guys slide him in the lineup to where we're actually utilizing him? I just want to hear from you. And if it is leadoff, what do you do with DJ?
Murphy.
You know what? I don't know, because I was originally going to say leadoff, but then what do you do with DJ is kind of a tougher ask, because if you slide him back, then you're kind of sliding everybody back. I could see him being, one of those 5-6 guys in there a little bit. Kind of fire up the back end. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that.
Starlin Marte is more of that prototypical, because when DJ came over and we slid him into the leadoff spot, he initially wasn't the leadoff, and we had to be like, yo, this guy gets a hit all the time. He may not have that much speed, but he could do it as leadoff because he just gets on base all the time. And to his credit, he has like a 23 game on base streak. I don't know if that was broken today. I think. Unless he walked.
I think he extended it today.
It was after Stan.
Okay,
The
so
walk was after
24 games around there. He's getting on base. So, he isn't the most prototypical leadoff hitter, if you want to call it that. But, he kind of is because he gets hits. But I think if you're thinking about the build of a leadoff hitter, I think Starlin Marte is more of that because he has speed and he hits for average and all that. So, I don't know. I think DJ's been in the leadoff spot for a long time. And I don't necessarily think they'd be quick to take him out of the leadoff spot for a guy they just signed, if they even get Starlin Marte. This is a big if. We don't even think they're going to. I hope they do, because he's
not even
the guy I've been
necessarily
calling for,
him, but we're looking for a speedy, like left-handed, or I know Starlin Marte is not left-handed. I'm just saying we're looking for like a speedy outfielder kind of guy.
And we got
Whoever we're going after, presumably, isn't going to be the big behemoth power hitter. We're looking at a leadoff type hitter. That's why. So plug in any name you want, whether it's Ketel Marte, who I think they said they're not trading,
him
or
with
Starling
Castro.
Marte, or whoever it may be. We're getting that top of the order bat. I'm just saying, where do you slide in a guy like that? That's the speedy contact guy. Just name it player X, whoever the fuck it is.
if
Well,
he's
it's tough
not, oh, go ahead, Murph.
I was gonna say it's tough because what we do is we put our power hitter and our best hitter theoretically in the 2 spot. So if we were doing, reverting back 10 years to how lineups were constructed, then we do Marte 1, DJ 2, Judge 3, Stanton 4, Voit 5, so on. But now when we slide Judge or Stanton into that 2 spot, that's when it gets harder to slip Starling Marte in there. Because then, you're not going to have him hit 3. You're not going to have him hit 4 probably, but that's when you start looking towards the back, the 5, the 6, or you put DJ out of the leadoff spot. So it's kind of tricky to slide a guy in there without completely revamping the lineup.
I kind of like DJ in the 2 hole just for this reason specifically. Like, so say you have your leadoff guy, we'll just say Starling Marte just to keep it consistent. If he gets on, which obviously that's what you're expecting out of your leadoff guy, DJ is a put it between the 5-6 hole guy, or the 3-4 hole, excuse me, guy, and they're playing at double play distance with a guy on first, right? So if Marte draws a walk, you have a guy that naturally pushes.
My bad.
No, it's okay. I wasn't talking. So you have a guy that naturally puts it that way. Why would you not want him there and kind of take away from the double play, which has been our biggest fucking weakness one of. There's a million weaknesses to point out, but that's just kind of my thought process. And then you go from there. If you get him on and then DJ slaps it through that hole, Marte's on third, and then you have Judge up, who fly ball scores, double play scores, anything scores. My thought
Agreed.
process. Do with that what you may.
Very good in theory.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
everything. The
Seems
2021
to
Yankees
be
sound
true.
good in theory.
Yeah,
And now
no,
here we
exactly.
fucking are. So
Absolutely.
And also, in theory, we have another guy in the lineup that would be eating up a middle of the order spot, who has been borderline the worst on the team of the starters or of the stars. That's Gleyber Torres. So he would be maybe solving a lot of that issue. He could have been a 5 hitter. He could have been that guy. So I don't know. We wanted to know a little bit about why Gleyber was struggling so much. So to dial it back from Starlin Marte a little bit, excuse me, Chandler, because he's currently not on the team, so I'm sure that people want to hear a little bit about this team. I am hoping that Starlin Marte does come to the Yankees, but if you guys want to head into the Action Network stat of the week, where our guy BJ comes in, and he did a little bit of analysis on Gleyber Torres, and we had the question to him, like, will Gleyber Torres ever be as good as he was in 2019 again? Because he had 38 home runs, and he was just great, and we haven't seen that, and we have had those stats where we have noticed, however many he hit in the first 2 years. I think it was, do you remember that number? I think it was like 62.
it was in the 60s.
In
and
the
they said,
first
like,
2.
6.
He's at 6 since that in the last 2 years combined. So we have questions, and we saw stuff about the exit velo, but BJ had a nice little synopsis as to why Gleyber has been so bad.
What's wrong with Gleyber, and will he ever return to his 2019 form? Well, I took a look at some of his advanced stats. It's not a simple yes or no answer, but what I found was quite disturbing. In 2019, he had a weighted on-base average of 358, which is well above the Major League average of 315. But now in 2021, his weighted on-base average has dropped almost 70 points down to 290. Now, taking an even deeper look into why that is the case, the answer is actually pretty simple. Gleyber has lost his power. In 2019, he hit 41 home runs, and he gets a major benefit playing in a hitter-friendly park like Yankee Stadium for half the season. However, his expected home runs, which is a stat that is measured by StatCast, which takes batted balls that should have left the yard based on launch angle and exit velocity, was only 32.8. So power regression from hitting 41 home runs was always likely going to happen. But 6 home runs over 2020 and 2021 is a massive drop-off. What's really concerning this season for Torres is his exit velocity. On average in 2021, he's hitting balls at 85.9 miles per hour, which is in the bottom 5% of all Major League Baseball players, when in 2019, he was hitting them on average at 89.1 mile per hour exit velocity, which is closer to the Major League average. Torres also isn't pulling the ball with as much power as he did in 2019. Devin Fink did a fantastic breakdown of Gleyber on Fangraphs if you want to go read the full article, but essentially the gist of it is this. Pitchers are challenging Torres more with their fastball, and he hasn't been able to catch up to it. If you compare his 2018 and 2019 season to 2020 and 2021, Torres' exit velocity on pulls is down from 91.2 miles per hour to 85.6. In fact, his pull percentage on balls that result in either a line drive or a fly ball is down almost 6% since 2019, which is a major concern for a right-handed hitter like Gleyber, who hit 31 of his 41 home runs in 2019 to left or left center field. Now, the theory that Torres can't catch up to the fastball might have some weight behind it. In 2019, he had a positive 14 run value against fastballs, but over the past 2 seasons, he has a negative 7.4 run value. Now, Torres is still 24. It could be a timing or mechanical issue, and he has plenty of time to figure it out as long as the Yankees keep giving him opportunities. But one thing's for certain. He will never be a 41 home run guy like he was in 2019.
So that was concerning, and he started out by saying, I have disturbing news, which I thought was very, very cynical about Gleyber. So he did one correction. It was only 38, not 41. So
That includes the play. No, that includes the playoffs. It was
okay,
41.
so I
He was
saying
great.
corrected. I
He
apologize.
does it for he does stats for a living. Yeah.
No, I know.
If I may.
And I assumed he was right, and I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there, and I knew I was wrong in some way. So I'm sure that is it. That does make sense too.
If I may, he sounded so much like Peter Brand in Moneyball when he was just
He
explaining
did.
that. Like the way he was explaining it, it was, I don't know. I felt like I was watching Moneyball. It was kind of incredible.
Dude,
Yeah, no.
BJ's you would like BJ. You should come on one of the action episodes,
I
Murphy.
should.
Now
I will.
that you got your bar schedule a little bit revamped, he's a good guy. If you guys don't ever listen to the Wednesday episodes, you need to listen to him because BJ gives us a lot of insight and sneak peek for next week. I know Yankee fans will appreciate this. We might have a little Astros tidbit for you for 2021. So give you a little extra incentive.
They may still be cheating. But back to this. Yeah, BJ's great. I mean, that was very in-depth. But basically what the gist of that is what he was saying was the exit velo is down, which we noticed. And we said that last episode about how his exit velo was down below Brett Gardner. And the only 2 people he had a higher exit velo than was, who was it? It was Tyler Wade and
Tim LeCastro,
Tim LeCastro, who
is
both
the new all-star.
It was a new all-star, apparently. We're going to get into him in a voicemail. We got one for that. So if you did call in about Tim LeCastro, you're about to be on the show because we have to defend our honor on that stance on Tim LeCastro because we did fucking shoot him down, and we'll get to that
I think
in a
that
second.
was more of just being upset about the Yankees.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
And he was kind of our whipping boy for how sad we were. But one thing about Gleyber Torres that, I mean, obviously BJ knows what he's doing. I'm just, how the fuck do all the projections, like the Zips projections and all that, get it so wrong? And I mean, these guys have the models and everything to break it down. But when you look at Zips, who also has the same models, they still predict him to hit 40 plus home runs a year. And they did so after after that year and then beyond. So I don't know where the middle ground is. Obviously, I know BJ. I've met BJ and I've listened to him talk, so I side more towards him. But I just want to know how he can get that, and then the Zips guys and all those guys can tell us every year in and year out that Gleyber's going to be a 30 plus 40.
Well, I mean, he's reacting to information we have this year. The projection is different. I don't know. I mean,
well, Zips was reacting to what they had last year, where he was fucking atrocious.
That was a short sample size, though.
It's not that short. It's 60 games.
It's pretty short.
Well, this is 8. This is
Murphy's
80 games.
smiling over there. That's a short sample size. Thank you.
I'm just saying. I don't know how it can be like a 40 home run difference. I think I'm just curious. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that one way is right or wrong. I'm just saying I'm curious how each gets to their stat, and I'm curious as to how accurate each will be going forward for the rest of his career. That's all I'm saying.
So
not taking a side.
Taking a side. So do you guys think that we'll ever see 2019 Gleyber again? Point blank.
Absolutely not.
Murph?
Not power wise.
No, absolutely not. Not this year, not next year. Maybe after that, if he fixes some mechanical things and starts to square up the ball a little bit.
Side note, do you think Gleyber Torres will be on this team for in 2 years?
That depends when he becomes a free agent. So I think he's still got a couple years under team control. So for that reason, I think he will be.
No, I
But
don't.
I don't know after
Well, I'm saying will he be traded?
his arbitration stuff's over. Once he becomes a free agent, I don't know.
I'm not talking about getting to free agency. I think he's got.
No,
I'll check
You
his
think it's gonna
contract.
get
but-
He's
traded?
24. I think he's got 3 or 4 more years.
You think he's
So-
getting traded then before he becomes a free
That
agent?
was
I
my
just
question.
mean there's so much smoke.
I don't know about that.
Even before Story this year, there was so much smoke on Seager in the offseason. And now there's a little bit of smoke on Story. And it's just like that's the talk of the Yankees' whole trade ordeal. I mean, I know we'll get into Berrios later on, but if you listen to any expert, or when we had Mark on our guest episode a couple of weeks ago, he was like, if there's one thing the Yankees fans are looking out for, it's Trevor Story, and Trevor Story's known to be on the trading block. He's going somewhere this summer. So I just think the stars align too perfectly for it, and he's playing so bad that I don't see him here for the long haul.
What
At
are
this
you
current
doing,
moment,
Murph?
that could change in like a week. But
I agree, but I don't know what Murph
as
is
of
doing. Are you
today,
trying to
I
catch
think
a
he's catching
fly?
a fly.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Yes. There's a fly. I hit him. He was like stunned on my wall, so I was throwing this little paper ball at him to try and get him off the wall.
For
I
those
think
who
I
are
got
audio only people in the podcast app, Murph is just. This is a reason to subscribe to the YouTube because he's just. It's just sounded funny the way
Just give me one
Murph first day back and he already lost his. He's not even doing. All right, Chandler, let's take it away like we usually do. So, yeah, I don't know.
I got it.
I personally think that Gleyber won't be traded, but I'm open to the fact that he can be traded in years to come. And like you said, I think the whole the Corey Seager and the Trevor Story shit really makes it a little bit easier to do something like that, especially with DJ being locked up for the next couple of years. And who knows? Like we were talking about who are the tradable assets before we got on the air, and we talked a little about that on last episode too. And this team is so. This is the first time in a while that I have felt like all of these players, they're not concrete. They're not on the team forever. Like this team could look so different next year, and it honestly depends on the next couple weeks. Like the next couple weeks, a little bit shortly after the All-Star break, if this team starts to, that's what it is. It's the next month or so. If we sit here in August and we sit down on this podcast, we're probably either going to be talking about buying or selling, obviously, and if they continue to play this bad in this tough stretch of games, the games upcoming is Houston, Boston, Philly, Boston, Tampa Bay, Miami. If we play bad for those games, we're very much sellers. And like I said, of the people on this team, there are a bunch that could be sold. There are a bunch that shouldn't be sold and don't have value in a trade. But, I don't know. This is the weirdest time I've ever been a Yankee fan because I've never we felt this before, but not with such lofty expectations to the point where the players that were the cornerstone players are now potentially not even going to be on the team next year. Like that's crazy to me, especially with this team. Like it's happened before with the Yankees when we retooled in 2016 and all that stuff, but there wasn't as much of expectations as there was this year. So this is just wild. Me and Chandler have talked about that before, about it being like the 2011 Eagles and the FSU team. It's just insane, and I'm sad.
The one thing that kind of sticks out in my brain, and it's something that I've thought about since, I don't know, May or early June. I read an article about the 2003 or 4 Red Sox that traded away Garcia Parra, and that was one of their household names that was just to give a major shockwave through it. Like it wasn't necessarily a rebuild, it was just to spark something. Because trading for no offense to Tim LeCastro, he has been awesome since he's been here, but trading for the Tim LeCastros of the world isn't what's going to change this team. That's kind of what the article was talking about. It's like, yeah, the Red Sox were good, but they could never get over the hump. That's kind of the Yankees. We've been good for a while. Like we've made the ALDS, ALCS, and I think they've kind of alternated years since 2017, but we can't get over the hump. Maybe it is a household name that needs to go just to send a shockwave like, oh fuck, and then this is a new team. I mean, even CC Sabathia, I talked about it last week. CC Sabathia on his podcast said that as a player, he would never admit it, but every year everybody's sitting around at the deadline like, oh shit, are we going to get a guy that mixes everything up for us? And whenever they didn't trade for anybody, he was disappointed. So I kind of lines up perfectly in a year like this where a household would be traded. If Cashman has the balls to do it, I think he's a little gun shy after the Sonny Gray trade. I haven't really seen anything of merit since then when he traded Mateo and Caprillion and all them. But I mean, if there's ever a time for him to come out and do it, I think it's right now.
So who's like the household name that you
Glaber, that's I mean, we're talking about Glaber right now. I mean, that would be one of the household names. A Glaber,
it's tricky.
I mean, a Judge. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just saying these are kind of your household names: the Glaber, the Judge, the shit. I don't even know who has value
people
anymore.
that get traded at the deadline generally, at least from one side, are people who have expiring contracts on seller teams. And if we're going to be the seller team, we don't really have anybody on expiring contracts. So while Glaber might be a part of a deal for another block name, we're not going to be giving up Glaber for somebody who's going to be on an expiring contract. So,
well, I'm not
I don't
necessarily
really
saying
see
that
that.
we're sellers. I'm saying it's more of like the retool situation, kind of like I mean, the Red Sox wanted to win the World Series that year. It's
Yeah.
not selling in the sense like I'll just use the Cubs last offseason. We're not getting rid of Yu Darvish and all these guys, and where Kyle Hendricks' name is floating and Chris Bryant's name is floating. It's not selling as in we're trading off everybody. It's just a retool. It's something to shake up the clubhouse enough to where like a seismic shakeup.
You know what's funny is that you mentioned the Cubs with the Yu Darvish thing, and then you mentioned the Red Sox with Nomar, and they both had the same GM at the same time. Like that was both Theo Epstein.
that
Theo
was
Epstein came in and did that with Garcia Parra, and then I believe one of his last things when he was the manager of the Cubs was to not re-sign Yu Darvish. So that's kind of funny. But either way, I see where you're going with it. I just don't know if like that's Cashman's like MO where he's gonna actually go and do that. I feel like the only player that sends that big of a shockwave through would be giving up Garrett Cole, Giancarlo Stanton, or Aaron Judge, all of who are essentially untradeable, in my opinion.
I mean, I think Glaber is that kind of player. He's a 24-year-old multi-time All-Star. He was the number one prospect in baseball for a while.
But he's horrible right now.
He's horrible right now, but I mean, doesn't mean he's horrible. I mean, he's 24.
That's
Chris
true.
Bryant didn't even get called up till he was 25, and he won an MVP.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying. I think if there was somebody on the Yankees that fit that bill of the household name that could be traded that isn't a total sell, Gleyber Torres fits that almost to a T. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying if the Yankees were to go that route, he makes the most sense. And that was kind of building off what you were saying. Is he going to be on the team in the future? And I just don't know. I mean, I don't think they have the balls to pull off a Trevor Story, and I don't think they would pay him anyway. Just based off of, if you can't sign Michael Brantley, you sure as fuck can't sign Trevor Story. So I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying if there was ever a time to do it, it makes sense now.
It's true. And I to piggyback off of that, I don't think a player like Glaber doesn't lose its value that quickly for trades, especially how young he is. Because, you know, prospects that are that big, like we're already talking about Jason Dominguez being untouchable. Like Glaber has done that in the regular season. Dominguez hasn't even, he just came up to the major, not to the minor leagues. He's playing his first fucking games, and we're talking about him being untouchable. Gleyber Torres has proven that he can do it at the major league level at a very high rate, at a very young age. So I don't think that he's lost any value, or not any value. He definitely lost some value, but he didn't tank like a guy like Clint Frazier did in terms of a trade value. I think he very much still has a lot of value, and he very much still could be, in the eyes of the Yankees, untradeable also. But I think him playing this bad and the looming free agencies of Story and Seager just being out there has, for me, cracked the shield of like the possibility that Glaber could be actually traded. Before this season, don't even entertain that to me. But I mean, now there's a sliver of possibility that he could be traded, and that's kind of all you need right now, and that could snowball and turn into a big thing, especially in a big market like the Yankees. Speaking of trading and all that stuff, Berrios has been rumored to be Apparently, the Yankees are high bidders on him. How do we
Before
feel
we
about
move
that?
on, can I ask a question real quick while we're on the shortstop conversation? Just a quick one, quick answer
That
for
was a
both of
really
you.
good transition, though.
I know it was a great transition, but can we springboard back to it?
We
Because
can
this is a good question.
springboard back to that, but we got to go back to that in a sec.
It's an amazing question. How would you feel if Glaber continued this, and then in the offseason with this class, the Yankees went out and signed Correa?
I would hate that.
I would personally, I might move to Miami, and be
I
a
would
Marlins
not. No,
fan.
I would not like that at all.
I would not
I
want
don't
them
think
out.
they would do that, dude.
I don't either. I'm just curious.
This entire team would have to be completely different.
Oh, yeah.
In my entire lifetime, there are very few baseball players that I hate as much as I hate Carlos Correa. That I would
I
never,
hate
ever
Carlos
wanna see
Correa
in
more than
Pittsburgh.
anyone.
Yeah, that's
Johnny
a flat
Damon
no.
I just wanted to. That was a good question though. I want to see
It
the.
was a good question, but yeah, hard no.
Okay, I agree.
fucking hate that guy.
No, how much of a pussy is he not playing in the All-Star game just because he doesn't want to get booed? What a
speaking
baby
of which-
back bitch.
Well, Altuve too.
I know
Can
they're
we
so
transition
fucking.
now into their little giveaway thing.
Yeah, while we're on the topic, they are doing the giveaway. They're giving away. That was a good one,
Your
Murph.
favorite words. We'll
Claps
segue.
to you. It's not a new favorite word. We didn't just
I
figure
never
out
said
that
was a
word.
new one. That's just a favorite word. You say
Okay.
segue at least once an episode.
Well, I segue a lot. So, yeah, they're. Did you guys see what they're giving away in the? Do you think that's a stain at us? By the way,
I
Oh,
thought it was
100%.
fake. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I thought it was fake.
I thought it
No,
was
it's
fake, too.
100%. They did it 100% to as a fu to the Yankees, but who fucking cares? Congrats on second place, I guess. Big fucking whoop. You made it to the World Series by cheating and lost. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's
Congrats.
one thing if they won the World Series. They're giving away pennant trophies.
They're giving away fake replica rings as an ALCS ring, not even a World Series ring.
Wait, it was an ALCS ring? Oh,
They
because
didn't
it was
win the
World Series
2019.
that year.
Yeah. It's like when a college football team, when fucking, oh god, it was
No, it's the
it
Colts.
was either, dude, no, it was like Florida or Miami. I think it was Florida made state of Florida rings because they beat Florida State and Miami when they were both fucking
I thought you meant
it was like
I'm pretty
congrats
sure,
on
the
winning
Colts
2
put up
games
regular
against.
season champs banners or something. I
Oh
thought
my
that's what you meant.
god.
I
No,
didn't
yeah.
even realize that. Now that's even worse. I was just
Yeah.
That's
saying,
why
like,
I thought it was a joke. I thought
Yeah,
it was
it's like a
completely fake.
consolation prize, and they think they're pulling off this master plan, and it's like, what the fuck you guys
I thought
doing?
it was some guy on Astros Twitter who was just making a joke and sending a meme around. I didn't realize that was a real actual thing that they're doing.
No, and then you
And I
get the
still am
dumbass
not entirely convinced that it's a real thing.
dude, I don't know why MLB sucks them off so hard either. I saw MLB notification after ooh, look at this cold Astros trolling the Yankees. Is that's not even funny. Congrats on your participation trophy, man.
On a series that they were proven to have cheated in.
Yeah, I mean Jose Altuve's obviously covering his buzzer, rolling into home to
What are
send
you
him to the World Series, and then Juan Soto just fucking slapped his dick on your face in the World Series, and here you are bragging about it. Woohoo! Good job.
Weren't they a wild card team too? Nationals.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
a trivia
that was
question.
one of the
They got slapped
7.
around by a wild card team in the World Series after
Yeah.
cheating.
That was when Justin
team.
Verlander got super butthurt at Jose Altuve grabbing his crotch at him, and then he hit a fucking nuke to
At
take
Juan
the
Soto,
lead.
you mean?
Who did I say?
You said Altuve.
Oh yeah, Juan Soto, excuse me. But yeah, either way, it's fucking stupid. And I think they're doing 3 giveaways. They're doing a replica World Series trophy, a replica ALCS ring, and then
No, it's a replica pennant trophy, I think.
Yeah, it's a pennant trophy, the pennant ring, and then it's a Altuve jersey.
sick.
I thought it was a bobblehead. No,
No, it was a jersey. Probably a buzzer included in that. But back to the topic that I was talking about. Actually, while we're still on the Astros, I did want to talk about the Astros anyway. What are your expectations going into this Astros series?
We're gonna win the first game because Nestor Cortez is pitching.
Oh
That's
my god,
damn
I
true.
didn't really.
That's damn
Okay.
true.
So 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, maybe 1 and 2.
how bad is it going to look if Cole gets shelled again in Houston?
Is he lined to pitch this series?
I mean, he has to be. He hasn't thrown
Yeah.
since
He
the
didn't
4th.
pitch against Seattle, so.
I'm surprised he's not throwing tomorrow. That's 5 days. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Is
Well,
he
just
hurt?
hasn't been he's not that good.
That's
I mean, I'm joking.
It's
but I'm
Garrett
not.
Cole versus Zach Greinke on Saturday.
Dude, Zach Greinke's gonna no hit us, and I'm gonna be sad.
Dude, Cole's ERA is still 2.91. I don't know why everyone's saying the sky's
Well,
fucking
was-
falling.
That's 'cause
it's
it
a
was
2.91
1-3
because
for
it
half
was-
the
yeah,
year.
Exactly.
All right.
I mean,
I'm not
you're-
fully worried about Cole, though.
Dude,
Next
you're a
two
math
games.
guy. Do 1-3, and then
I get it. But I'm just
Sample
saying he's still fucking good.
No. He was good. He was exceptional. Now he's good because he's been bad.
do you
We'll
think he's
see.
kind of a head case now? Because he's kind of been. I love Garrett Cole. I got his autographed jersey on my wall. I'm just saying. Now that the sticky stuff, he seems to get flustered easier.
It's
Yeah.
probably annoying because he's not. This is probably the first time in his career he's been struggling pitching.
Well,
So
he
at
wasn't
least since he's been
amazing on
using
the
sticky
Pirates.
stuff.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
early in his
recently.
career. That's after.
Recently.
Yeah, now he's fucking leading the league in everything. Every fucking. He's a good pitcher now. He's grown into a superstar pitcher. He's in the Cy
I
Young
agree.
race.
I'm just asking the questions that nobody wants to talk about.
No, but
So
you
he's
always
also
refer
like
back to his Pirates
go
days. It's
sticky
like
stuff.
that is so
Always
long
has been
ago.
twice. I've done it
Okay.
twice, and that wasn't that long ago. It was 3 years ago, 4
He's
years
also
ago.
becoming like the absolute scapegoat of the sticky stuff thing, and he and Chapman are exhibit A and B on. Oh, they were only good because they use sticky stuff. So, but that's got to mess with you mentally too. So that might be why he doesn't
Yeah.
seem like he's got the same edge.
So on the same note with pitchers, let's finally get into this. What are your guys' thoughts on the Berrios stuff?
I would love it.
Depends what we give up. That's the answer. That's the question. That's
I
the
don't
way
even
answer
care
every
at this
I don't even
point. They're
care,
not.
to be honest.
They won't even fuck. They won't call up anybody good anyway. Do you saw that tweet the other day? It was like asked about Park and AAA, who's tearing the fucking cover off the ball as a lefty. Like the analytics don't match up. If you're not tearing the cover off the ball anyway, who fuck? I don't even care. As long as it's his name's not Dominguez or Gill or Medina or Lockridge, I don't care.
Or Lockridge. Berrios this season has a 3.36 ERA, 7-3, 101 innings pitched, 106 strikeouts, 1.1 WHIP. He
Give him to
has a 3.47 FIP, so that's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I mean, he's been one of those pitchers who's honestly, I feel like he's been rumored to be in trade talks or free agent talks with the Yankees like seemingly every offseason.
This is the first time I've ever heard his name as a trade.
I don't know. I've heard it a few times for at least
I
a
think
trade.
you're smoking crystal meth. I've never heard that before.
Maybe it was just this offseason. I don't know. I heard something about him potentially being a Yankee at some point. Maybe it was recently, and I'm just projecting that into my brain at some other point.
I
But
feel like that was an off-season thing.
it did happen at one point. I'm not crazy. At
The
some
Twins made
point.
the
He was like one of
playoffs in
those, like,
2019.
he was at the
Whatever,
bottom of those
fucking dude.
long
Relax.
lists of people.
I'm,
Now they
I'm
got J
relaxed
Happ, and
as
they don't
can
need
be.
Jose Berrios. That's why.
Yeah, all right, fair point. That's all I
He's
needed to
still,
hear.
All right.
like, he's still that good.
J
It might
Happ.
be a stupid question. He's still that good.
J Happ is like a 19 ERA on the Twins.
Well, yeah.
Are you talking about Happ or Berrios?
No, Berrios.
Oh! I thought you were talking about Happ. I was like, dude, Happ is.
Didn't he throw a perfect game and then like every other outing he's given up like 8 runs?
No, he got
Or
went into
no
the
hitter.
seventh. He went to the seventh perfect or no hitting, and then they scored like 6 off him in the seventh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and true. He
Yeah.
brought out his Yankee blues on that one.
But Berrios has, like I said, is a 3.36 ERA this year. He's 7.3, which honestly, if
Right.
I know wins don't matter, but like the wins kind of matter to me if you're on the Twins and you're 7-3.
Agreed.
I think wins matter for.
Okay, well, wins especially matter if you're on the Twins and you're 7-3 to me. Like
Wins
I,
matter if they work in your favor.
I disagree with that. I think because
I'm-
Domingo.
You know what I mean.
Take DeGrom. Otherwise, they matter.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's here and there, but in this situation, it absolutely matters because he's on a team that gets no fucking run support. So I don't know. The Twins are just a weird fucking team, but I'd be happy with it. And I don't even think we've talked about the situation of like, oh, does it even matter, or why would we waste assets to put a team together that isn't even gonna win? Like, we aren't a Jose Berrios away from a World Series, so to me, if you're gonna get Jose Berrios, that better not be it, because I mean, this team, Jose Berrios might not be the only guy. Like, we might not even make the playoffs. So if you get Jose Berrios and you get a couple other guys, and we just missed the playoffs too, and we just loaded the farm on these guys who now potentially are going to be here for a year and some change and then leave. Like, that is a even worse situation that we are in now. So I'm in a weird spot as to, like, do I even want to buy? Because these guys have to be not only good players, get them for good prices, but you also have to get them, and they need to come in and perform right away. Like, you could get a guy like Story who comes in the first half of this year. He didn't really have that great of a first half. So, you know, you not only have to get the household name for a good price, but he's got to come in and do it right away. So, I don't know. I'm very torn about this whole thing because we could be in a fucked situation if we get Berrios and a few other guys and still miss the playoffs. And then we're just sitting in October with our thumbs up our ass, just like, okay, now we're fucked for years. Like, now what? Yeah, now we could be sitting in a spot where we have no prospects.
Well,
and we
it's kind
don't.
of what happened to us in like the beginning of this, after 2009. Granted, we won in 2009, but we put all our marbles in that basket, and we weren't good at very good again for a long time because we had a lot of older guys and not a lot of younger prospects to move it around.
Yeah, do you want to do that again? And here's the thing too.
Without winning,
How fucked are
I'm
we really,
sure-
though? We only have one free agent coming up, and that's Kluber. So it's not like we have a bunch of expiring contracts. Like, the people we have right now, unless there's trades, are stuck there for several years to come.
we've got
Like,
Stanton for 6. I think Hicks is there for like 4 or 5 still.
we have him for 5. We have DJ for 5
Chapman's-
after this. We have Stan.
Chapman
We have
5, I think, too.
Chapman. We have Britton for another year. We have all these massive contracts. All I'm saying is I don't really think that you can look at the farm. If you're still in contention come the deadline, which that is a massive if you're still in contention at the deadline, I don't think you can prospect hugged. Like, you can't.
Here's my
This
question.
team needs something.
Here's my question to you. So you say in contention. We're currently, 4 games out of the second wild card?
4.5.
4.5. When the time comes, what is the number? What's striking distance from that wild card? We don't, obviously, if we're in it, if we're like in the second wild card spot, slated in there, then we buy. But like, how many games out of that second wild card could you be to hit that buy button, to comfortably hit that buy button? And then
Murphy,
that
lead us
being
off.
1 game below that, you'll sell. What's that number for us?
I think that goes on a spectrum starting with 1 game back. Because, like, if we're 1 game back, obviously we're not going to go try to get some huge piece to try to make up ground to maybe get a wild card spot. But on the other hand, if we're in the driver's seat in the wild card by then somehow, or if we're a few games back, then that differs who we're going to go for. Whereas if we have a legitimate shot at being a contender to win the World Series, then maybe we go for a bigger name, the Starling Martes of the world, that kind of thing. But if we're 5 games out, then maybe we go for a little bit of a long shot, smaller piece. And I think that 1 game back is about the Berrios territory.
My number is 4, and that is assuming that's my nuts on the table number. That is, we're going to get Berrios. We're going to get fucking Marte. We're both Martes. I mean, I'm talking a full-on buy. If you're within 4, I think you have to go on and do everything you can. And I'm not small moves. If Hal Steinbrenner can actually sack up and pay the money, and Cashman can sack up and trade the prospects, I think if you're within 4 and above 500, you go fucking do it. I mean, to save your own face after what you've put together in the first half, you go out there and you buy a Marte, you buy a Berrios, you go get another bullpen arm. You do what you can fucking do. You're not going to fucking bring up your prospects anyway.
I don't think so. I don't
go
agree
do
with
it.
that. Because
Well,
I
I
think
mean,
what Weller was just saying.
what's the
that's
point,
when
though?
you get into the territory where you put your nuts on the table to losing the ALDS, and then you're fucked. And then we got 2 Martes and no farm system.
I mean, nobody on the farm system's coming up anyway. Between the contracts and the fact that they won't bring them up. Like, if you can't bring up Park right now and you can have Tyler Wade up, like, that just shows me that they're not going to do it.
We're not talking about this year, though. We're talking about for the next couple of years. If we make all these moves right now and get rid of these guys, like, we have to use these guys to get pieces. You realize that. So if we do that,
Well, yeah,
then
but
the
I
next
mean,
couple of years, we are actually fucked. And I'm not saying they're not going to bring these guys up this year. That's obvious. But then we have no prospects and aging starters that are all probably going to be on short-term deals with us, and then what? And then we have nowhere to build a team around, and we just don't. We have a fucked team that's loaded with Stanton's contract, Cole's contract, and a few other guys who are just going to keep getting older and keep getting more hurt, Judge included, whatever the fuck happens with him, and it's just not. It's not it. DJ's not going to get any better as the years go on, too. Like, he's an older player. I love DJ, but that's another thing I'm looking at for the next couple of years. If I was a GM, I'd be looking at all these things, and I do think this situation we have right in front of us, that I asked that question, whether to buy or sell here, can have such big ripple effects for the next fucking couple of years, and it's actually a very vital part of this organization. And here's the thing, too. It's very vital for certain people's jobs, so that's why I'm more worried about this, is because as much as Hal says Cashman's job and Boone's job isn't on the line, we know it's very much on the hot seat at the end of this year. If we miss the playoffs, anything's fair game in terms of who's getting fired. So they know that, and that's what scares me the most, is that he might just fucking pull who's the GM that would always just blow up teams? I think he was on
Jared
the
Dipoto?
Red Sox and the Phillies now.
Is it Dipoto? That was the guy on the Mariners
No.
that just likes trading fucking everyone. I think that's
Dave Dombrowski.
Dave
Yeah.
Dombrowski.
So Dave
Yeah.
Dombrowski, on his way out, just blew up a team and left the fucking remains for somebody else to just hop in there. I worry that Cashman's just going to make a one final hoorah and go after it. We miss the playoffs, or even if we make the playoffs, then we don't win the World Series, and then we're sitting here with a fucking wasteland of a team with bad contracts all around. That's what I worry about.
I guess my bottom line is, don't do the middle ground that you've been doing. If you're going to buy seriously. If you're going to buy, fucking buy. You go out and get the pieces you think will win you a World Series. If you're going to sell, sell. That's all I'm saying. Like, if we're in a spot to where we're going to buy, don't half-ass it and go get 3 more Tim LeCastros and Justin Wilsons. And like I said, I know Tim LeCastro's been fine, but you know what I mean. Like, don't go out there.
Don't just do it to please the fans.
Go out there and
piece if you think it's gonna actually mean something.
If you're gonna buy, fucking do it. If you're not gonna buy and actually go out there and try and win a World Series, then fucking trade who you can and let's gear up for the future. Because as the team sits right now, we're not winning dick. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like we're upset. We're upset right now. Imagine how upset. This is what I'm just trying to help out future us. Like, if we're this upset right now, imagine we have a wasteland of a farm and just fucking shitty contracts up and down the entire lineup. For the future of this podcast, we're going to have some sad episodes for years to come if that's the case. I'm thinking about future Luke, Chandler, and Murph out there. Just like, what are we going to talk about? What are things we can get excited about going forward? And those are all the prospects and stuff like that. So there's some real weight to this decision as whether to buy or sell right now. And I think it's pretty fucking important.
Part of my thinking on the buying, though, real quick, and I'll let Murphy just quick little tidbit. I don't think we're losing, even if we were to buy extensively, I don't think we're losing the core, you know? Like, we have so many big contracts and so many lengthy contracts that the core of this team's not going anywhere. Like, if you were to sell prospects, you're selling maybe one or two guys that may make it up there. Like, yeah, it sucks. They might be superstars. You might have the Caprillions of the world or whatever who come out and just fucking shove it, but they're not going to make this team. Like, one of them may make it to the Yankees based on how the roster's constructed. That's why I'm saying if you're going to buy, you risk it all. And that's what you even backed me up on the offseason. You were saying, you know what? I want to see them sell the farm. It's not my fucking money. It's not my prospects. Go do it and win the fucking World Series. That's what I'm saying. Based on the situation the team has put itself in already, I don't think that trading prospects is going to make that big of a difference long term, because I don't think they're going to get the opportunity anyway.
I just think that also, given how this year's going, it's not like the roster's bad. There are worse teams that are playing better, and then there are better teams there aren't really better teams that are playing worse. So I don't think this is a 1 or 2 deadline move is going to save anything this year. And it might even be a detriment next year if we're giving up prospects. So that's where, I'm a little hesitant to be like, oh, yeah, sell the farm on a year where we're maybe going to make the wild card. And I also, on the flip side of that, don't think we should dump and sell everything either. I think we kind of sit and deal with the cards that we've been dealt at this point in the season. and maybe we go on a tear, maybe we don't, but then we figure this out at the end of the season.
So you're fine with just sitting there and running it back again?
For the deadline, yeah. Off season's a different story.
No.
But for the deadline, I don't think one or two people are going to change up this lineup too much. And the people that might are probably going to cost a little bit too much, or we're not going to be able to come to a common ground because we got a lot of bad contracts. I don't know.
You guys want to get into rounding third?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, so the first rounding third segment, we have just recently changed it, obviously, to taking your takes. It originally was just us coming with some bold takes, and then we try to get each other to buy or sell that, call her safe or out. But it was kind of tough to think of just bold takes all the time, every single week. So we turned it to you, the listeners, and you guys send us your hot takes. We usually post them on the story or on Twitter, and you can reply to it to send in your hot takes, and we're just going to buy or sell those. Call you in our words, calling you safe or out for the rounding third purposes of the segment. So the first question comes to us from Jeffrey Alias 7, and call me an asshole if I DM us, and I'm an asshole if I say your name incorrectly. But he says Clint Frazier will be an all-star next year. Now I'm gonna just take the reins on this one and
Whoa. We
this
had an
fast.
order.
All right, go ahead. But
No.
You fucking went away from the order on number one.
Yeah.
all right, go ahead.
Just like on Jeopardy too. No, I think for sure out. Like thrown out at home by like 95 feet. And yes,
Yeah.
I know base paths are 90 feet.
No, I'm with you. The ball's sitting at home, and you're halfway between second and third right now.
Yeah, I don't even think he'll be playing baseball next year. He's got what is it, vertigo right now?
Yeah.
He'll probably run into another wall or something. I don't know. I'm so done with Clint Frazier.
Vertigo is just like such a, I don't even know. I'm not even trying to like downplay it. It's just like that is just the perfect cherry on top of everything that's happened to Clint Frazier. It's like, oh yeah, I have vertigo. Sorry, I'm done. Like, well, fuck, man. Like that's just such a Clint Frazier injury to have. And I know I'm not, like I said, not downplaying. I know vertigo fucking sucks. Like I'm a big guy. Jason Day collapsed on the course of vertigo. I'm just saying, like a fucking, like, here we go again.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that he's gonna be an all-star. Like his career is hanging by a thread.
Yeah. So next question is it's definitely directed at Chandler. So this one is from Quinn Little. There should be a conversation about Sessa returning from the Sun. Sorry, Chandler. So the current occupation on the Sun is Sessa, Krisky, Ford, and we just sent one more to the Sun. Who just
Justin
Wilson is currently a member of the Sun. So we can assess. We can use this time to fully assess Sessa's residency on the Sun. So Chandler, I'll kick that one to you then. That was a question for you. Is Sessa still on the Sun, or are we bringing him off the Sun?
My personal loathing, it's beyond hatred. My only way I'm bringing him back from the Sun is if we can send Wandy Peralta in his place, because that guy's a fucking bum. If we can do that, then I will accept it, but I still don't like it. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, he's got a 3 ERA this year, and it's in a pretty big sample size. Murph loved him. Murph loved him from the beginning. Just a locker room guy. Even when he was bad, Murph was his guy.
Remember when Murph told me that Sessa was better than Loizaga in the offseason?
I don't recall that.
We did have them both. We had them both on
check
their
the tape.
Yeah, there's the roll call. There's a roll call.
Remember that?
So I'm very cool with that. I'm very cool with doing a swap. I think that's the only way you bring somebody off is you have to put somebody on. And I think Wandy Peralta, if you guys are okay with that, we can do a majority rule here. It has to be unanimous. So all in favor of Wandy Peralta being sent to the Sun and Luis Sessa returning from the Sun. Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Quinn, there you have it. So,
Still don't like him.
All right, that's fine, but he's not on the Sun anymore. So
he's not on the Sun. He's like in a spaceship tumbling towards Earth.
So the next question comes to us from KGLock27. He said the Yankees are not re-signing Chapman after next year, even if he's still considered elite. Murph?
Wait, is re-signing Aroldis Chapman?
Yeah.
Isn't his contract not up?
after next year. I haven't looked into that, but
I thought we had him for like a lot of
Didn't we
years.
just re-sign him in the
Yeah, I thought we
offseason?
just
Didn't we
re-signed him.
pick up like 3 more years?
I'm looking it up right now.
I am too.
I mean, if he's a free agent at the end of next year, which I'm pretty sure he's not, then yeah, I guess we wouldn't re-sign
We just signed him for a 3-year. Okay, he has 1 more year left. Yeah. So at 2022 is
absolutely.
his last year. So after the 20, he's saying after the
After next
2022
year.
season, he's making 18 million there.
Yeah,
he's saying that we
I
don't
wouldn't-
pick
I
him
would
up.
not.
No,
not
we have
re-sign him.
no. We got Loizaga. That's what they're grooming him for. I've been saying it since the
Yeah.
offseason. You guys
No,
shit on me
I don't
for it. That
re-sign
we're
him.
grooming Loizaga to be the next closer. If he keeps this pace, like, sorry, Chapman, you had a great career, but bye-bye. Loizaga's
Yeah,
our
he'll
new
go
guy.
pitch somewhere else for 2 years, be mediocre, and be done.
He's
career.
gonna go pitch for somebody like fucking like the Giants. Somebody just random
Yeah.
that's sometimes good.
He's also going to be 35 that year too. So I'm fully on board with not bringing him back that year.
not bringing him back. No way.
Can we take a second real quick to talk about how much you guys shit on me for saying Loizaga is being groomed to be the next closer?
Like, it's still not set in stone.
I don't think it's set. It's not set in stone, but like all signs point to it. And when I said it, I thought you guys were gonna like block my phone number.
Okay, but we've seen, yeah, it was close, but we've seen people look fucking absolutely dominant. Chapman, right, this fucking very year, he was very dominant, and then he can flip the script to be very bad. And we've seen Loizaga struggle himself. So right now, you don't look like an idiot, but in a month, you very well could. So that's where I sit with that.
I think I said no to that because I thought if he did pitch well, he would wind up back in the starting rotation before he wound up in the closing. But now, obviously,
know,
you're looking
man.
pretty right.
I'm just saying, you guys are pretty unnecessarily mean about it.
Well, I apologize for being
Sorry,
mean.
we hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
My feelings are great. I'm in high spirits. I'm just saying. Even my dog's pissed off. That's why he's barking in the background.
Sure. So next question comes to us from Edison Vicari. Jameson Taillon becomes our best pitcher in the second half. Chandler, what do you think?
Gigantic sell, but I love the name. It sounds like a great like classical musician.
Who, Edison Vicari?
Yeah, doesn't that sound like a world-class violinist?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
He does. Edison, if you are a big violinist, we'd love to hear a little bit of a piece if you could send it in to us. So
Please do.
I'm selling that too. I think he had a good last start, but that is not enough for me. What was his line in his last start?
7 innings pitched, 9 Ks, and a couple hits and like a run.
That's great, but
Look, I'm not
that's not
denying
going to
that.
move the needle for me at all.
I'm not denying he can be a dominant starter. I think
I am.
down the road, he's missed 2 years. I think he could be a good rotation piece for us eventually, but I don't think any sort of consistency. I don't think you can expect any sort of consistency and depth in his starts right now. And hey, guess what? We still have a guy named Garrett Cole on our rotation. If there's one person betting on to figure it out in the second half, it's probably the guy that's making $324 million and has done it and almost won a Cy Young.
That being said, for the entire second half, we very much could have another pitcher, another 2 pitchers on this rotation too. So I wouldn't take Taillon in that fight. Even if Berrios is that guy who comes in, I would take Berrios to be the better pitcher than Taillon in.
I would take
second
Sevy
half.
over it too if he were to come back.
Depending on the workload, but yeah, I would take Sevy also. I think there's some people who won't be on the roster that I would take over him. So
I think he'll have a better second half than
I agree.
Than
I think he will
first
have a
half,
better second half
but
too.
He won't be
Like I
the
said,
best.
I think he's going to be solid. I have not lost total faith in him as far as the long term, but I think the best pitcher on a rotation, that's a bit much.
I'm just happy that he's still healthy. Knock on wood. But like Kluber, we said this before the season started. They get a bunch of guys that are injury prone, and if one of them or 2 of them figures it out, then that's it. It worked. So clearly it's working right now, and this was to be expected. I would prefer that Kluber was the one that stayed healthy because he's better, but
How much weight do you put into Taillon's white cleats? They look pretty sharp.
none. Next question. JC Gunn comes to us saying trading Torres, Frazier, or Andujar for Didi at the deadline.
For Didi.
I would love to have Didi back. I don't foresee that happening, and I think Frazier is useless.
If
in
you
a
could trade Clint straight up for Didi, I would take it in a heartbeat. I don't think
Although-
any of those are going to
although if you
happen.
said that to me 4 months ago, I would have laughed you out of the room.
I love Didi, man.
I
I
love
mean, I
Didi
know
too.
it's not going to
He was
happen.
my favorite player on the Yankees.
He was mine
too.
too.
Not even a question.
Dude, this is my
Damon's
biggest
too.
birthday present I ever bought to myself was a signed Didi jersey. It's sitting right above my desk at all times.
I don't think Didi will ever be on the Yankees again, but I do wish he would be because I miss him. Next question comes to us from Matt Villa or Villa, if you want to, however you want to pronounce that. But Matt says the Yankees will have the best record in the AL in the second half of the season.
So
I'm gonna have to sell that one as well. There are plenty good teams in the AL, and we don't seem like we're one of them. Now, if you asked me in the beginning of the season if that could happen, hell yeah, I'd be ecstatic about that answer. I'd be very much telling you that that is the case. But the White Sox are in that camp. The Red Sox, I feel like will slow down. The Rays are damn good. I would take the White Sox probably to
fuck, even the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
All
I
of
don't
our
know.
threats right now are basically in the East. I mean, you got the Blue Jays, the Rays, the Red Sox, obviously not the Orioles, but then you have the White Sox and you have the A's and the Astros. Like, nah, I just don't.
Well, to put it in perspective here, we're gonna need just about that to make a serious playoff push. We're gonna need to be the best record in the AL in the second half. If you isolate first half, second half, not just overall record, we need that. That's something we need. So I'm hoping for that, and that's obvious, but you know I don't foresee it happening, especially after being one hit tonight by a rookie. Next question comes to us from our boy Tom Sinercha. Shout out Tom. He said the 2017 team was more fun to root for than 2018 through 2021 combined expectation wise. Murph?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm buying that. That was my favorite year, except for 2009, to be a Yankees fan.
Yeah, that was a fun year.
Totally buying, and that's all I got to give you for that one.
Thumbs down for those who are audio only people. Check out the YouTube for Chandler's thumbs.
That's the Todd Frazier Didi 2017 team. If you didn't get that,
That's
so.
Greg Bird hitting the fucking nuke in Cleveland too. That was a fun team. Because that team, here's the thing, they had no expectations. They were still a rebuilding team, and I think that's more fun as a Yankee fan than being a favorite because we're just gonna be let down. That year we had no plans on doing anything. We still went to the ALCS and fucking did the damn thing, came back against Cleveland. So that was fucking fun, and I fully am calling you safe on that one, Mr. Tom. Thank you for the question. Next question comes to us from Ryan_Mecca. The Tim LeCastro double on the almost ground out was the most exciting play of the year. Chandler, what do you think?
I mean, I'm trying to think of a rebuttal to that right now, and I just can't. So I'll buy it.
What other exciting plays have there been this year?
I mean, not many. We actually have like the third most walk-offs or something ridiculous like that. And this team's so unfucking just, they're so boring that I can't even remember them. It's like walk-off wild pitches. So, I mean, Tim LeCastro has been great. I can't say anything bad about him. And I'll say it again and again. I shit on Tim LeCastro when we traded for him. He's always got an open invite to tell me how bad I am at my job.
All right, and that honestly could probably take us right into our first voicemail, which is about Tim LeCastro. So here is the first call.
Oh boys on 51st Street. This is Nelly calling from the Beehive State, Utah. I apologize if you can hear any of my fans going on. As you know, it is hot as balls everywhere.
It's true.
Just wanted to call on here and ask what y'all think of Tim LeCastro now. Y'all were shitting on him big time when they picked him up. So any thoughts? Regrets? Any regrets? Enjoy listening to the pod. Good up, guys. You do a great job.
As always, appreciate the call. I think Nelly was 914-469-2168. If you want to call in, let us know your name, where you're from. I don't have any regrets, and I think we mentioned it a bunch of times on this episode, but I'll start off by saying I think the Tim LeCastro hate was it wasn't directed at Tim LeCastro. on paper, he looked like a pretty fucking damn bad player, and he still is. He's having a good couple of games. He's batting .333. He's hustle doubling it. He's a fast guy. He looks exciting. All that stuff. That's going to taper off. Maybe it won't. Maybe he's going to be lightning in a bottle for us. That'd be great. But the reason for us shitting on him, at least for me personally, I don't know about you guys, but it was misdirected anger that happened to just hit Tim LeCastro. He happened to be in the crosshairs. He was the first guy to come on to the Yankees via trade or whatever it may have been after we've been shitting on ownership to make a move. And Tim LeCastro ain't the diamond crown jewel that we wanted. We wanted something they could actually get excited about and make us think this team is going to turn it around and that management wants to spend money. So that's why we got so mad at, I guess, Tim LeCastro ended up being the unfortunate target on that one. But I mean, he's been great, and I'm not gonna. That was a one-time thing shitting on Tim LeCastro. It's not gonna be a continuous. This guy sucks, like, because I have no expectations for him. It's just he wasn't Max Scherzer, or he wasn't a big move, you know.
Yeah, no, I was never upset. Like, I wasn't never upset at Tim LeCastro. It was the fact that we're reeling. At the time we trade for him, we've lost like 4 of 5 or 6 of 7, whatever it was. We're all looking for a real center fielder because the Yankees are just embarrassing Brett Gardner every night. Like, they're just giving him. I mean, it's sad. It's just sad. And we're looking for a true center fielder, and you bring in Tim fucking LeCastro on a team that's got like 13 lefties, and you get the one righty when we don't have a single lefty on the team. And it's just too easy to be upset at it. His name could have been any. I don't care who the player was. It's not the fact that it's Tim LeCastro. If it was any player outside of that select few center fielders we wanted, we would have shit on him. So I have absolutely zero regrets. On paper, he was a dog shit player. He's been fine so far. He's not going to be like the World Series MVP or anything, but so far he's been great. I have no complaints.
I think he fills a couple of gaps that we needed. He's fast. He's a pretty decent fielder, you know, and whatnot. But he's just kind of the most recent in what feels like grabbing at straws, hoping to find some little diamond in the rough on little transactions this year. We did it with Dietrich, Jay Bruce. Remember him?
Don't
like
say that
Maldonado,
name
Odor was that. Like Wandy Peralta with the Talkman deal. Like, we're just kind of grabbing at straws, waiting for somebody small to somehow pop off and be good. Like, it's happened before in the past, so it's not the craziest thing in the world. That's what happened with DJ LeMahieu. But
and Luke
just
Voigt
in general, he doesn't.
And Gio.
So,
if
like,
only
yeah,
Giovanni Urshela could hit.
Is
My
he going to
favorite
be
rookie.
that guy? Is he going to be Gio Urshela? Probably not, but I don't hate the deal. We didn't really give anything up for him, and right now he's doing a job. So
Yeah, I agree. I think if this move came after some bigger moves, I would have been like, fuck yeah, let's get one of those last piece guys to do a
like,
job.
why not?
Like,
Throw him
why
in there.
not? Just like, welcome in Tim LeCastro. But because he was the first of the moves, I'm thinking to myself, that's it. Like, that's what we're doing. This is the fix, because he's not gonna fix this team overnight. It's been great, and appreciate the call, Nelly. Very much appreciate anybody who wants to send a call in. 914-469-2168. Next call comes to us about the Ohtani
This is
situation.
Brandon from New York. I got a great question here. If Shohei Ohtani chose the New York Yankees over the Angels, where would this team be right now with his bat and his pitching? Hey, keep up the good work, boys.
Appreciate the call, Brandon. That's a good question. So Ohtani was obviously thinking about coming to New York, but apparently he was scared off and he didn't want to do the big media thing, which he's in Los Angeles. I don't really get that at all, but
Anaheim.
I guess it's not the Dodgers, so whatever. They're fucking close. Who cares? But what do you guys think?
We would have won. How many years has he been around? 3. We would have won 4 World Series in that time. No, seriously, that's the kind of player that completely changes the direction of your franchise. So
Miguel Andujar still would have won the Rookie of the Year, but other than that,
we would have had all 3. All 3 Rookie of the Year.
I really and truly, though, if he came here, how can you just can't predict that. It's a whole different market. You have Sonny Gray, who's a fucking animal in Oakland.
He's
and
not Sonny Gray.
I know. I mean, he pitched one game in New York and gave up 7 2/3. That's
He
all
also
I'm
hit
saying.
2 home runs
But
though.
he's also he's a generational talent like that, where like
I'm just
nobody else
saying you can't
can
predict it. Like,
sustain baseball.
I think hitting wise, he would take advantage of the short porch like nobody's fucking business, and he'd
Wouldn't
be.
even need to. He hits it out by 60 feet.
Well,
every
I know
time.
he's fast too. That's one
Yeah.
thing I
Steals
noticed.
bags.
Way off topic, but he is fucking quick. That
That's
dude can
completely
move.
on topic. But
Well, I mean, no, not as far as what you. I mean, asking like home runs and ERA and shit like that, but he's fast as fuck.
well, that's something the boys need. He's got 12 stolen bases this year. He has a 5.6 WAR.
He has 12.
He is
What are the
when
Yankees total? Like 18 stolen bases, and
Maybe,
Tony has 12.
maybe.
I can look that up right now. Keep talking though. I'll look it
swear
up.
it's 18.
Mike Talkman has half our stolen bases still, and he has on the team.
Yeah, he's on the Giants, and Mike Talkman was hitting like 130. So do with that what you may.
No, that's the kind of guy where like imagine he was on the Yankees.
Dude, even just as a DH, like I mean, got our DH
That's
filled
probably
for the
what
next
he's done.
400 years, but
The Yankees
would've
have
been-
18 stolen bases.
boom, told you. And Otani's got 12.
Yeah, so that's kind of wild. I'm just honestly blown away that he has a 5.6 WAR already. He's got a 178 OPS plus.
He's
Yeah,
a
man.
fantasy baseball powerhouse. Let me
Yeah,
tell you.
I think he's absolutely somebody who can change this team around. You know, and when you have a guy like that who's doing both things, that's something that I have no problem saying buy. He's obviously I don't know how much he's making. Do you guys know how much he's making?
I mean,
I think he's making a lot actually.
he made like the biggest posting fee ever, but I think there's a limit on what you can pay.
He's making 3 million.
I was gonna say there's a limit on what you can pay. Most of the international signings max out on the posting fee. I think they paid him like 56 million on the posting fee, and then he makes like a 3 million salary. So
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. For the purpose of the question, I think we're in a very different spot. I agree with Murph. Next question.
My only thing is real quick on him. I don't know where you put him offensively because we have such a big commitment to Stanton.
You can send Stan to the sun.
You
if he's
figure
in
it
there.
out. Yeah.
No. I
Yankees
totally
every
agree.
5 days. I don't care. When he
I totally
pitches,
agree.
Yankees
I'm
DH.
just saying. I
Or
think
no
it's
DH when he pitches,
it's an
but-
interesting question. That's all. It's an interesting scenario if he were to do it.
If Stanton were on the same team as Shohei Ohtani, I personally would just eat that Stanton contract.
I would trade
ride
Stanton
Pine.
for a tub of orange slices if it.
Or
freed
put
up the
Stanton in
spot
left
for
field
Shohei
to
Ohtani.
nut the fuck up and play in the
Exactly.
field.
It'd be the next Bobby Bonilla contract, but like, who cares? We'll pay him. We'll like have a holiday. Like, oh, it's Stanton's owed $30 million this year. How fun is that? Or it's like Chris Davis. You count the years off the contract. So next call.
What's up, guys? Love the pod.
Appreciate
name is
you.
Terrence. I'm calling from Miami. I'm here for the summer for work. But let's get right to it. My hot take, I guess, is the only scenario I would trade Judge is depending on a couple of things, obviously. So if the Yankees decide they're going to be sellers at the deadline and they're going to, blow this team up and rebuild, I think this is what they should do if they trade Judge. And I know I speak for a lot of Yankee fans where I would not want to trade Judge personally. I'd love to see him be a Yankee and sign a contract here as a free agent and stuff. But, you got to do what you got to do. So the only way I would trade Judge is I'd call up San Francisco and I would tell them you can have Judge, but you have to have Stanton as well. And I believe that Stanton would waive his no trade as well. I think the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, were one of the teams that he originally said he would go to when he was in Miami. And I think Aaron is from the Bay Area as well, Judge. So, that would be a good fit for him. They don't really have any power bats. They're a contender. I don't think their payroll is actually that high. And in terms of return, I mean, it really depends what you're going for. I guess you could ask for Yastrzemski, who would probably just slide in right in the right field. He's a lefty bat. But, you'd like to have some young pieces come back as well, like some prospects and stuff, and that would be nice. But, obviously if you don't give them Stanton, then the price will be a lot higher. But I think that that's really the only scenario I'd give up Judge is giving up Stanton as well because, they're both good players and they're both really good players and we all know that Stanton can be great when he's right, but that contract is just going to be horrific. So that is the the only way I'd trade Judge is call up San Francisco, tell them you can have Judge, but you got to have Stanton as well. And I really think Stanton would probably waive his no trade as well to go there. So let me know what you guys think.
Love the call. Appreciate the call. Me and Chandler kind of mentioned this. I definitely meant, I don't know if it was last episode or the episode before, but I thought personally, if he were to be traded, I think the one place that makes so much sense is San Francisco. And I'm not necessarily saying I want that, but San Francisco has such a low payroll. They are clearly a contender this year. He's a player. And if it were to work out this way, the way Terrence is talking about it, if it was Stanton and him coming over there, you got to take both. I don't necessarily know the logistics of how that would work, because I guess we're just eating the contract, getting a little bit of a much smaller return because you're eating the contract. We get like your Stremski and that's it. I think that would honestly potentially work. I don't know if I would like that. You're just eating a contract to eat it. I think I'd rather have Stanton on the team. As bad as the contract is, it's worse if you're just paying it for nothing. So I don't know. But I do think set Judge to San Fran makes a lot of sense. It makes so much sense to me because they're contenders, and I think he could really fucking help them. And he is from the Bay Area.
I don't hate it. I mean, if you're gonna trade Judge, I never even considered that, honestly. Like packaging Stanton with him. I don't know where he fits in San Francisco because he's a perennial DH. If they go to the DH, yeah, that's all he can do. If they get the DH in the National League, then yeah, I mean it makes sense. And I don't know, I kind of like it. If you're gonna do it that way, and it would be a big piece. And I know you're saying if you're just eating the contract, just eat it. But think of how much that frees having a DH spot. Like,
I thought you were saying money wise. Yeah, it doesn't free anything. Eating the contract just to eat it is not a good thing. Like, we keep talking about how bad this contract is. It is awful if you're just straight up. That would be Bobby Bonilla-esque. We're just actually paying money for nobody that's not even helping us. Like when the Red Sox were paying fucking Pablo Sandoval to just do nothing. Like that's the type of thing, except times 30 because it's 30 million versus the like one that they're paying. It's bad, but we have to keep him on the team. If he is sent out there.
I'm saying it frees up like lineup options. If that's what's weighing you down and you think that's what can make, I don't think that's what makes the difference. It's not the one hitter. We have a lot of problems top to bottom, but if that's a step you want to make and you're gonna trade Judge, that does, I guess, give you flexibility in the DH role. So there's a positive side of that. I don't know if you want to be, there's a positive to trading Judge, who is supposed to be your franchise cornerstone and the icon of New York. But
one more thing before Murph, you go. I would just say the one thing about the contract too that I think Terrence was trying to get at is that if you're packaging Stanton on there, like if you were to trade Judge straight up, I think you get a good haul for sure because it's Judge. But if you're packaging both of them, they eat the contract. Then you're getting a very small return, but you're getting a contract off the books. So like I was saying about eating the contract just to eat it, that wouldn't happen in that sense. Now you brought up a good point though, Chandler, with the not being a DH. I think that automatically nullifies the Stanton thing, but I would entertain the Judge to the San Fran thing. Murph, what do you got?
So they were talking about it. I think it was on the Michael K show today. I definitely had heard the Judge and Stanton to San Francisco. Michael K wasn't on today. He's on vacation, but sorry.
You wanted to say that so bad.
I wanted to say that really bad. Yeah. No, but they were like, who are you really going to get back if you're giving Aaron Judge up to San Francisco? Like they really don't. Like Yastrzemski's old. He's like 32.
What?
I don't know what his.
Yastrzemski is not 32.
Yes,
he's like
yes, he's old. He's older than you think.
Dude, you're so wrong. There's no way.
I could have sworn he was way older than we thought he was. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Look up his age right now.
I am.
I'm pretty sure he's like old.
He's 30.
All right.
Holy shit! I thought he was like 24.
That is old, actually.
So,
that is mad old.
old.
I literally thought he was like 24, as I was, Murph.
And yeah, so anyway, he's not a great return. I don't know who they have in the farm system, but I can't think of any of their prospects off the top of my head except Joey Bart. Right? He's San Francisco.
Yeah.
The catcher there. I don't know otherwise. And like I don't know. Like, it's maybe if it's Judge and Stanton, we can get something decent in return.
Get Talkman back.
In addition to get off Stanton off the contract. But like, if we're just giving Judge to San Francisco short of trading us their entire farm system, I don't know what we're gonna get. Like, I don't see Judge going there by himself.
Yeah, I don't know. The more we talk about it, the more it really. The only thing that would make a lot of sense to me is if they were both paired together to go to a team and it was a salary dump and we don't get much in return, but we lost the contract and we are now flexible enough to spend money, but they don't have a DH. So that throws everything out the window. Because like you said, now the Judge thing alone doesn't really make sense because from what I know, they don't really have that many good prospects. I could be completely wrong, and I probably am. And if they do have great prospects, then that's worth talking about. But when you think of prospects, I would want Mike Yastrzemski if he was 26, not if he's 30. Like, I want a MLB ready player who's we could still retool like we did in 2017 and be
Dude,
good
that blew my
relatively soon
mind.
after. Yeah, that is crazy.
he
Absolutely
came
blew
up
my
really
mind. I
late.
thought he was like
He hasn't
24.
been in the league that long.
I know. That's why
Yeah.
I thought he was a young call. I thought he was like Juan Soto-esque with the call up.
No,
Yeah, I see that now. I'm a
I
fucking
honestly think he was
moron.
older than 30. Because I remember being shocked when I found that out. I think it was from MLB The Show. I figured it out or something.
I mean,
Like,
goodness me.
at the rosters, but like, yeah, he's old for somebody like older than he's seen.
All right, I wanted to end this show on two things. One, a little factoid that I thought was wild that Dan Rourke put out, that Judge and Stanton since Judge's rookie year, not Judge
and Trout. Trout, not Troy.
Judge and Trout since Judge's rookie year have played the exact same amount of games, which I think is wild, and that is just kind of puts things in perspective. Trout doesn't get any shit for being injury prone, and Judge is just in the limelight. So maybe that, I don't know, something to think about. Maybe pump the brakes on the injury prone Judge conversation. And one thing I wanted to leave everybody off on before we send you over, if you want to keep on listening. I know this is a bit of a long episode combined with the trivia, but we did do trivia, Beat the Boys. Right after this, we pre-recorded it, but right after this, we will have Beat the Boys, and it will be Stephen G versus, I forgot what to say. Stephen G versus us, and it was a lot of fun. So if you want to join in on that, we'll tell you how to do it once you turn that part on. But I'll leave you with one last thing, and that is John Sterling fucking up the call yesterday, which was great.
Now here's Judge. Man, the breaking ball is hit in the air to deep left. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Unfortunately, that was a replay of the home run, but it was a good replay. Hey, I'm sorry. It's on the monitor. What am I supposed to do?
This is a